Hello, Core Pick video, Core Pick live stream for today, August 11th. It's Friday. It's a 13-game main slate in total. If you join me for the very first time, this is kind of structured that we'll have for today. We'll go over a recap of yesterday's picks, see how they turned out. Go over to RotoWire, talk a little bit about the weather report for today, any potential weather issues that could be popping up throughout the day. Then we'll go over to FanDuel, talk about my core 5 picks, which is going to be 1 pitcher, 4 hitters. So it's going to be a combination of past history based on their performances in their respective matchups, and then kind of some recent history on top of that as well. And then we're going to get over to YouTube community tab, my cheat sheet, and the bottom half of that, and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for today overall. If you guys have any questions whatsoever at any point in time, feel free to drop them in the live chat if you're watching live, or down in the comments if you're watching on replay, and I'll get them to them as quickly as possible. But without further ado, this is kind of the recap for yesterday's picks. So yesterday was a 4-game slate. We had 2 games that were potential weather threats. So it wasn't the greatest day to play overall, personally. Unfortunately, it was a little bit more of a hit or miss day in terms of our core picks. So a pitcher, we had Aaron Nola at $10,000, got 30 points. Said they gave him a push as the third overall pitcher on yesterday's slate. Him and James Paxton were the 2 most popular pitchers. Those are the 2 that I've been getting the most yesterday, just in general. Unfortunately, Matthew Liberatore got to 49 points, 2% ownership yesterday in most contests. So it was like the best start of his career. He pitched like 8 innings and had like 7 strikeouts too. So that was a little bit unfortunate there. If you got to him, congrats to you, I guess. But, a guy that had 70 ERA going into the DA, going against Tampa Bay, did not look like the greatest player in the world. And then at first, we had Paul Goldschmidt at $3,400. Got 6 points that did give him a push yesterday. He wasn't anybody that helped our lineups, wasn't anybody that hurt it at the same time. At second base, we went with Breston Stein at $3,000. Got to 15.4 points, so he ended up getting a hit. The second overall second baseman on yesterday's slate. Then at shortstop, we went with Wander Franco at $3,600. Got to 18.7 points. He was hit. Ended up being the third overall shortstop on yesterday's slate. I believe Tommy Edman, and I don't remember who the other one ahead of him was, but I mean, if you pay him and since Edmund was eligible at multiple positions, had a pretty good success rate there. And then with Wander Franco too, he was part of the prop of the day, so over 1 total bases for him yesterday, so that ultimately ended up hitting. So hopefully you guys were able to capitalize a little bit on that and make some money at the same time. And then last but not least, we had Bryce Harper, who got to 3 points. Unfortunately left in like the 4th inning yesterday. He got hurt, supposedly a back injury now at this point in time. Kind of a weird situation, but a guy that ended up ultimately being a miss because of that, only getting the 3 points at $3,400. So like I said, a little bit of hit or miss day yesterday. If you had some other decent plays alongside the core 5 that I did have listed here, had a chance of cashing still at the very least, but it was a smaller slate. Like I said, one that I probably wouldn't have put too much money on yesterday. But with that being said, we're going to stop sharing this screen. We'll get over to RotoWire. There is a 13-main game slate today. There is really only 2 games that we need to talk about in terms of weather today. So it looks like a pretty good weather day. So I'm going to just scroll down. Okay, so it's already on the spot that I wanted to. Looked like it was going to scroll up for a second there. So we got the Milwaukee Brewers, the Chicago White Sox, the games in Chicago, 20% chance they're in there. And then in Kansas City, Royals and the Cardinals, 7% chance they're in there. Actually pretty warm down there too, 93 degrees. Those are the ones that look like they have potential factors at all. If anything majorly changes throughout the day, we'll leave it down in the Expo as well as the starting lineups as they do come out throughout the day. So that's pretty much all we have for the weather report today. It's going to be a pretty good looking day for E13 main slate. I'm going to stop sharing this. We'll go over to FanDuel and talk about this core 5 picks for today. So like I said, there is 1 pitch, 4 hitters, combination of past performances in their respective matchups, combination of that and their recent performance over the well. So at the pitcher position, a name that hasn't been popping up too much this year, it's Lance Lynn. I got $9,900 for him. He is going against Colorado Rockies. This game is at the Dodger Stadium, so don't have to worry about Coors Field being a factor there. And Lance Lynn has pitched actually exceptionally well since he's been traded. So don't really have as much concerns there. Maybe he's kind of just tanking on purpose to get out of Chicago because the White Sox situation is a little mess. As a White Sox fan, maybe pretty bad. No, he doesn't have too in the past. A little bit of questionable upside there, but the Rockies lineup has not been that great as of late. So definitely do like him tonight as a pitcher that we can play. But Mix and match at that pitcher spot today. Whether it's him, whether it's Justin Verlander, on the season, Lance Lynn averaged about 30 fantasy points. The ERA is still up over 6, but he's got the 8 wins. And like I said, if you look at the 2 most recent starts, 43 points in both of them. So pretty favorable there since he's been over on the Dodgers. Not really too worried about the Rockies lineup. Like I said, though, if you want to mix and match some different pitchers in there, we got Blake Snell, we got Corbin Burns, we got Justin Verlander that all look like really good plays tonight too as well. And then kind of mix and match some other guys on the lower end if you want to go that direction as well. So quite a few options out there. Feel free to mix and match as always. Then we're going to go down to second baseman Ozzie Albies. We played him the other day, ultimately ended up paying off. He is 4 for 15 in his career with 1 home run versus Tyler McGill, who's expected to start for the Mets today. On the season, Ozzie Albies 263 average, 26 home runs, 81 RBIs. He's averaging 12 fantasy points per game at $3,800. There's a lot of second basemen you could potentially pay up for today himself. Marcus Semien, Jose Altuve, and Mookie Betts are all potential pay up options. So ultimately end up on Ozzie Albies here today. I do think it's a pretty strong matchup. Obviously, he's doing really well as of late. He's on a actually, I didn't write his down. He's on a pretty good hit streak as well, if I remember. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's on a 9-game hitting streak at this point in time. 3 or 4 of those were multi-hit games. He's at double-digit points in 5 out of the last 6 games, 9 points before that. So really strong upside for Ozzie Albies once again today. So do like him quite a bit. And then we move down to Trey Turner at the shortstop position, a guy that's struggled a lot this year, but he's going against the Minnesota Twins today. It's Dallas Keuchel on the mound. Keuchel is not the same pitcher he once was when he won the Cy Young over in Houston. It feels like it's been a long time, at least since he's been even close to that. But, it's been about 3 seasons at this point in time. On the season, Trey Turner, 10 fantasy points per game is what he's averaging, $2,900 salary. Only a 243 average, 12 home runs, 42 RBIs. Obviously, a guy that can steal some bases as well. 4 for 9 versus Keuchel in his career. He's on a 7-game hitting streak at this point in time. You see the upside's been pretty good as of late. So definitely do like Trey Turner today, especially at a little bit of a value spot at $2,900. And it seems like he's starting to get it right at the right time. Then we move down to the outfield. We got Nick Castellanos, his teammate. He's $3,100, averaging just under 11 fantasy points per game. 276 average, 20 home runs, 72 RBIs on the season. He is 7 for 18 with 1 home run versus Dallas Keuchel in his career, so a little bit more history there. Still a lot of success. He's on an 11-game hitting streak. He's been hitting the ball extremely well as of late, so I definitely do like the guy that Nick Castellanos does provide, and obviously he was the guy that ultimately ended up being on the thumbnail today because of his recent success and because of his success for Dallas Keuchel in the past. Then last but not least, a guy that's been popping up a lot for us as a paydown option, Robbie Grossman here at $2,500. Obviously a guy that we need to make sure is in the starting lineup tonight, but it is expected that Scott Alexander will be the opener for the Giants today and that Ross Stripling will be kind of the primary reliever behind him, pitching a couple different innings, whether it's 3 to 5 innings probably. But Robbie Grossman, he is 3 for 4 in his career versus Scott Alexander. He's 2 for 4 versus Ross Stripling. He's on a modest 3-game hitting streak at this point in time. And he has hits in 5 out of his last 6 starts too. So pretty strong upside there as of late. When you look at the season stats in total, not anything super intriguing, but 29 average, 8 home runs, 38 RBIs, averaging just over 8 fantasy points per game at that $2,500 price tag. Like I said, the 3-game hitting streak here, he's got hits in 5 out of his last 6 starts. And, in those last 6 starts, he's had double-digit points about 50% of the time too as well. So a guy that's a cheap paydown option, if you're going with the Rangers stack today, would be a guy that you want to consider once again as well. But with that being said, if you ultimately go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, obviously stacks play a major role in GPPs. So definitely feel free to build these out as you see fit. But if you were to go with the 5 that I do have listed here, you have $12,800. I mean, $3,200 per player. So still some room of flexibility if you want to play up for a certain player, pay down at a couple other spots. Or if you want to take a little bit more balanced approach, it's definitely fine on tonight's slate as well. But with that being said, we're going to get off of this screen. We'll go over to the YouTube community tab and talk about the top GPP teams to stack for today overall. So once again, the cheat sheet is 100% free. It's up on the YouTube community tab. It's up on Twitter. It's up on Facebook. So definitely be sure to reference it as you're building out your lineups today. If you're interested in the more in-depth notes, be sure to check out Patreon at patreon.com/CoachCraigSport. Monday through Friday, some additional notes there, notable hitter versus pitcher matchups, whether I would consider a pitcher in play, a risky play, or a straight up avoid for that day. That's just kind of in general what I provide there. Very small monthly donation. Also have some CFL DFS notes up there. We'll have some NFL stuff once that comes around as well. But with that being said, the GPP teams that I do have to stack today, we have the Philadelphia Phillies going against Dallas Keuchel. Like I said, it's been a while since Keuchel's been in, any good form. Really, he had one start so far this year, second start of the year. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to be had there. The Phillies have hit him pretty well in the past. And then we go over to the Cardinals. They're going against I believe it's Angel Zerpia or the bullpen for the Kansas City Royals. A lot of opportunities to be had there, not a lot of history. So looks pretty good for them. I think Dylan Coleman or Dustin Coleman, I can't remember his first name, is going to be the opener for them. Zerpia should follow him after that. And then we got the Texas Rangers. Scott Alexander probably being the opener for the Giants tonight. And then Ross Stripling follow him. A lot of these Rangers hitters have hit them both pretty well. So definitely be sure to consider them. Marcus Semien, Robbie Grossman, Leody Tavares, Corey Seager, a couple different options there for that Rangers team. You can throw Nate Lowe in there too as well if you would like. And then last but not least, we have the Atlanta Braves going against Tyler McGill. Not a long list of history there, but kind of hit or miss history versus him in the past. Not the greatest pitcher in the world, so do like the upside that this Braves lineup could have once again tonight. If you're interested in some more stacks, be sure to check out the Patreon as well. There's a couple more that just didn't fit on the cheat sheet for today. As typically does happen, but get creative on today's slate, 13-game main slate. A lot of different ways that we can approach it. If you guys have any additional questions, be sure to leave them down in the comments, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on today's slate for excuse me, I can't talk right now. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play for tonight's slate as well, whether it's someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top GPP stacks, or whether it's a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you guys have to say. If you are brand new, checking out my channel for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, it's MLB DFS Monday through Friday. Got CFL DFS video going up once a week that went up on Wednesday. So definitely be sure to check that out. If you haven't already, you can still get it on the weekend action as well. And then, like I said, I have some more in-depth notes for that as well over on the Patreon side. NFL is starting up relatively soon. Once the regular season is going, we'll be doing some NFL DFS content as well. But with that being said, that's that I do have at springtime. I do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, whether watching live or on replay. Definitely means a lot to me. Hope each and every one have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck.